Embark on a magical adventure as the enchanted Durham Lego Trail arrives in Durham City Centre from the 1st to the 15th of August. Discover a world of imagination as enchanting Lego creations appear across the city in a magical journey filled with mystery, creativity, and fun. Perfect for the whole family, Lego enthusiasts, and visitors of all ages. You'll explore Durham's historic streets while searching for fairy tale Lego models. And best of all, it's completely free. Explore Durham this summer holiday with the enchanted Durham Lego Trail. For full details, visit lifeindurham.co.uk.
Your county, your station.
The Durham Podcast.
Durham on Air.
Welcome along to the Durham Podcast and the first of our special Durham Fringe Festival episodes. In this episode, we're going to catch up with Stephen Cronin, the festival organiser, as well as loads of acts from across the festival. The festival is running until the 2nd of August and all tickets are available at durhamfringe.co.uk. It is the month of July and now in the Durham calendar, that's a very, very important time because it's the time that we all start preparing and looking forward to and booking our tickets for the Durham Fringe Festival. It's in its 6th year, I believe, this year, which is absolutely fantastic because I remember when it was in year 1 and it was all very, very exciting. Set up, ran, managed by a team of people. That team of people is led by Stephen Cronin, who joins me over the phone now. Morning, Stephen.
And you were very important right at the beginning as well, Sam.
Apparently so. Apparently I had an idea about it or something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We've been talking about this thing for some years, haven't we?
About 10 years, yeah. And look, year 6 this year, is that right?
It is indeed.
How does that feel? Tiring.
Each step is interesting. You kind of think, is it a big new massive thing, or is it just a big step from the last one? We've gone up by 15-20% in ticket sales each year, but also we've now got 135 different shows, nearly 300 performances. It kind of grows a bit like Topsy, but it also gets a bit more complicated. But it's superb. It's a brilliant event, and we love the atmosphere it generates, and we have a very positive relationship, we hope, with the city, with the volunteers. We have over 140 volunteers, and with the performers. I don't know how many we've got this year, 450, 500 performers. Extraordinary numbers.
For people who don't know what a fringe festival is, can you explain it? What is a fringe festival?
Do you want the?
Because it's nothing to do with hair.
No. Do you want the long history explanation or the kind of briefer one?
Let's go for the middle one. Go for the medium version.
Okay, the medium version.
Yeah.
Essentially, as you know, Sam, in Edinburgh, back in the late 50s, early 60s, there was an international festival. It had money for trying to recover from the Second World War, and it was brilliant. And it had the Bolshoi Ballet and all sorts of exciting people. But people on the outside were going, why can't we take part? So they started to rent spaces and put on theatre and comedy and other kinds of events. And a couple of years later, a year or so later, a journalist said, and on the fringe of the festival, all of these other shows are going on. And that journalist going on the fringe of the festival was the start of Fringe. So Fringe is outside of, or kind of non-mainstream, outside of the booked big international stuff. It's other people bringing really brilliant performing arts of almost any kind. And there are like 250, 300 fringes around the world. I don't know what the number is currently in the UK. So Fringe Festival basically means performing arts in lots of different size of venues, lots of different levels of experience, and lots of different genres.
And I know the answer to this, but I want you to answer it. Why Durham? Why are we doing one in Durham?
For lots of reasons. One is it feels a little bit like Edinburgh in the 1950s and 60s, i.e. it's historic, it's quaint, it's interesting, it's human-scaled. I know Edinburgh isn't human-scaled. Edinburgh now is massive. They have 3,500 different shows in Edinburgh next month. But we think that we are a kind of an intimate early version of Edinburgh. You can walk between every venue. You can eat or drink at your favourite hostelry, and you can get to see all sorts of amazing things. And the venues range from places like Cathedral, which is a coffee shop, up until 5 o'clock, and then we turn it into a venue. And we put stand-up in there and music and little plays and all sorts. And we then put a big marquee on Palace Green and put big bands on and all sorts of different things. So you get that atmosphere of lots of different things going on, but it's in a magic environment. We've got people able to go to the music department, which was made 400 years ago, more than 400 years ago. And you can go in and watch a show in there. You can go into the Fellows Garden. You can go to a show on Palace Green, which is a World Heritage Site. So you can come and see shows in Durham in lots of brilliant, brilliant places.
And what has the feedback been like? I remember when we were talking 6 years ago about, or 7 years ago, even 8 years ago, are we going to do this? How would it work? Will anybody come? Whenever you try to do something in Durham, or anywhere probably, there's always a little bit of cynicism. There's always a little bit of pushback. There's always somebody kind of going, no, there's a reason we can't do that, and there's a reason we can't do that. How has the city taken to it? How have the different city organisations taken to it? What's the feedback been like year on year?
The parish council's been behind us from the beginning. The university's been behind us from the beginning. Fabio's bar has been behind us. The whole host of and indeed Durham On Air has been behind us from the beginning. And so there's a great deal of positivity from the institutions, from the companies, but also from the performers. We were labelled very early on as a friendly fringe, and we very much hope that remains. There's 145 volunteers, and we all smile, and we, including all of the directors, and we smile and say, "How can I help?"
I mean, what does an unfriendly fringe look like?
That's a really good question. But, there are fringes out there, and you and I both know them, who charge a very large amount of money to perform. We don't. Or we don't charge anything. It's very hard to get accommodation. It's very hard to get advertised. It's very hard to get a footing in the system. And you pay to register as a performance in the fringe. I'm not saying any particular fringe is unfriendly, but I can tell you, if all around you wants your money and wants to make it as difficult as possible for you to get an audience, then I think we're a friendly fringe.
Let's talk about shows. What kind of shows can people expect this year? Is there anything in the programme that you're particularly excited about? Yeah,
well, I don't know whether you remember lots of things. There's 135 different shows, but during COVID, I bumped into online the Marsh family doing their YouTube videos about how COVID was being handled and how politicians behaved and all sorts of other funny things. And they've thrived and continue to take their satirical view of the world. And they're bringing us their first out-of-region show. So they are coming to visit us, partly because the mum from the Marsh family, her dad is a geneticist in Newcastle. Right. So she's a northeast lass, but the kids are coming, the mum and dad are coming, and they're going to have two brilliant performances on Palace Green.
Wow.
Now, that's just one out of 135 different shows. But that makes me smile.
Tell us about the Academy. What people may have noticed this. It's in the Prince Bishop's Shopping Centre on High Street there. Yeah. They might have seen Durham Fringe Academy. What's that about?
This used to be New Look clothes shop. And we are here as kind of an experiment for the next year. There's two aspects of the word academy here. The first is a venue. And I'm sitting in a space which has got what we call a thrust stage, a stage with seats on three sides. We have 70 seats, and we've got lights and sound, and we could put on all sorts of theatre and magic and dance and movement. And we've got a Taiwanese show coming with a lot of creativity and music and lighting and sound. So it's a theatre or performing arts space. Upstairs, we have a massive space available for rehearsal, and we've already had 3 or 4 different companies bringing in their rehearsals to us. We could also run classes upstairs. We could run dance classes or choreography or creative sessions up there. So partly it's just a space. And it's a space that gives us a presence and a visibility. And we have a wall of posters outside that almost everybody stops at to see what's coming on at the Fringe. So it's a space, but it's also a way of being visible for the Fringe. But it's also a project. And we intend here, including you or dear self, to bring in experts with professional experience in performance or in production or in creation, and try and share some of those skills. Quite a lot of people have an interest in performing arts, and they can go to colleges and get all sorts of really useful qualifications. But sometimes there's a little bit of a kind of practical gap. How do you get the contract right? How do you get your marketing right? How do you find like-minded people who want to do your kind of project? If you want to do a show about Wales, where are you going to find the people who are interested in the same project? And so we're partly a space, but we're also a project to help performing artists find their niche and find their audience, and bring a kind of greater degree of professionalism, and give them half a chance of making some success of it.
And the Academy's not just sticking around for the length of the Fringe Festival. It's going to be there for a while.
It is. We have it basically until they throw us out.
Fantastic.
And we, as you probably know, Prince Bishop's is destined to become be knocked down to the level of the high street, and it's going to have student accommodation above, and it's going to have smaller units below it. So unfortunately, our wonderful unit we have here for the next year or so is going to be knocked down and replaced. And we hope that by the end of our year, we've got interest in the Academy for the next year. The Jazz Festival is bringing us some shows. The Folk Festival is bringing us shows. The university wants to use us for 3 weeks. So lots of people want to use this space. And if we can find a way of making this a viable entity so that we could pay a lease, then what we'd like to do is move from here when we get kicked out to another space which we can have longer term. But we need to prove that it's an idea that people like. And if my friend Sam says, I'm going to bring you such and such a show, and he brings it and he enjoys it and it works and people come and enjoy themselves, then maybe he wants to do it again.
Yeah. Fantastic stuff. Well, look, the Durham Fringe Festival, when's the dates this year? When are we doing it?
Starts Wednesday, the 29th, and finishes on the Sunday, to the 2nd of August. We're basically timed a week before Edinburgh. So that people can go from here, and lots of people come to us with shows, or indeed just to see the shows, and then move on to Edinburgh and do the Edinburgh Festival as well.
Tickets and the full programme is at durhamfringe.co.uk. Stephen, thank you very much. I'll see you there. I'm going to be there for the whole week.
And that will be magic.
Yeah.
It'll be brilliant to see you.
I cannot wait. All right, cheers, Stephen.
Take care.
See the future, foresee the future. That's what you said. I didn't think to wonder what came after. I was distracted, snakes in my head. Now I'm a no one. I was deceived. Look how you left me, broken and empty. Always denied, never believed. Now I'm a no one, falling from grace. My ever after tragedies
That was Hollow Chapters by the Marsh Family, and I caught up with them as they were preparing for their performances at the Durham Fringe Festival. So it's Durham Fringe Festival week, and I'm out and about. They've actually let me out the studio for a change, which is absolutely lovely. And I'm here, sat with some lovely, lovely people who have made a very long journey all the way from Kent to come and play some music for us. I'm sat in front of Ben and Danielle Marsh, and I'm sat in front of the rest of the family as well. Tess, Ella, Thomas and Alfie, and Krish is here as well. Special guest Krish. Ben, you're a history lecturer, but tell me why you're sat in front of me right now. What are we doing? What are we here to do? And who are you?
There's a short version and a long version. The short version is the Fringe Festival that we heard about when someone came to see us playing live down in Broadstairs Folk Week last year. And we looked into it, and it just looks like a fantastic opportunity where the city comes to life, and we've literally just walked up the hill for the first time. We've not been here, Danielle and I have not been here since we got married 21
years ago on Friday at Durham Castle.
So you got married at Durham Castle. So you're from the northeast, right?
Yes, I'm from Newcastle. So I did my teacher training in Durham as well. So it's a coming home in a sort of a very nice way. But we were at Durham Castle getting our wedding reception 21 years ago on the 31st of July.
So to fast forward from the wedding, 4 kids later, the pandemic hit, no one had anything to do. We played some music, some of it went viral. And since then, since 6 years ago, we've just loved playing music and carrying on. And we've started to do it live since last year. So this is the first time. We've done plenty in the southeast, local gigs and pubs and open mics initially, and then some festivals. But this is the first kind of big, exciting festival and first. Can we describe it as a tour? We're doing 2 sets on Friday and Saturday, and not really any other dates. But our grandparents are up here. It was just, it just felt like a perfect fit.
Sounds like a tour to me. I mean, you've been compared to the Von Trapps, which is the kind of, I would say, is the lazy comparison. Because that's, I think, the fact that you're all related is pretty much where the comparison ends. But I'm just to paint a picture for the people listening, I'm going to go down the line here and everyone's going to introduce themselves and tell you what they do. So we've got Dad, Ben, who, you play a huge amount of the musical instruments. We've got guitar, bass, cello. You dabble in other instruments as well.
Yeah.
What else are we mentioning in terms of your instrument
So for this weekend,
repertoire?
it's going to be guitars, and there's going to be a banjo, one track with a banjo that I'm bringing up. But yeah, I left the other stuff behind. We didn't have space in the van for that.
Right, so just introduce yourselves and tell me what it is you're doing in the group.
Yeah, I'm Alfie. I'm the oldest son. And alongside a bit of singing, I'm going to be playing the bass guitar and a little bit of guitar as well when Dad's on his banjo to kind of cover that.
We didn't bring the piano. We couldn't fit the piano in. That he's normally our pianist as well.
Yeah.
But
That's okay. I'm not too salty about it.
Sans piano. And I mean, you're singing in the group, Danielle, but also, I mean, the main accolade is you gave birth to half of it.
That is literally going to be my claim to fame. Like, genetically, they're half mine. But yeah, a bit of percussion and the singing is basically what that's my only claim to fame.
A bit of tambourine.
a bit of wood block.
Yeah.
Moving down the line.
I'm Tom. I play the drums mostly, but I've been known to dabble in a bit of mandolin as well when needed.
I'm Tess. I play violin and I also do some singing and I do a bit of ukulele with Ella.
Yeah, I'm Ella. I'm the eldest daughter and I sing and I play some cornet and some other percussive instruments, and I also play a song with the ukulele.
I'm Krish. I'm not officially in the family.
I think you are now. I think.
I'm moral support and sometimes play some wind instruments.
Moral support. I wish I had moral support, trapped in a dark room on my own, talking to myself for 3 hours every morning. So I want to know about back in 2020, because this is kind of when things started to kick off. I mean, for people who haven't heard of the group, it's massive. The amount of subscriptions over on YouTube, 282,000 subscribers on YouTube, 125,000 followers on Instagram, live features on Jimmy Kimmel across the states. This is silly. I mean, who did you ever imagine that this could be where it might end up when this project kind of started?
No, it was entirely accidental and serendipitous. And yeah, at the start, it was literally because, I mean, the Jimmy Kimmel show, I guess all their bookings dropped off in the pandemic. Let's not forget, no one had anything to do. Everyone was panicking and needed a little pick me up. And, that's some of what we've tried to do with our music since then. We're going to do a few parody numbers, so re-lyricking, famous songs. But since the last couple of years as well, we've been writing our own stuff, which has opened up a new audience maybe, and it's something we're really excited to share at Durham.
I mean, in terms of the music, how music worked through the family, Ben, you're obviously musical, and all of you are musical. It is not often that every single child in the family would latch on to that kind of thing. For you guys, what is it about music? When did you start learning music? Do you have a first musical memory? Was it just something that was always there, or is it a conscious decision to kind of go, actually, I think I want to get involved with this?
Yeah, I think we always grew up with music. Dad's side of the family especially are all musicians and have musical influences. So from very young, we grew up sort of making songs for grandparents and all being involved in performing things together. So I think from there we sort of then got into learning instruments at primary schools and sort of worked it up as we got older.
And I mean, the musical interest's really interesting because there is undeniably a folky sound in the music that you're doing. It's folk orchestrations, huge folk influence. Tess, am I right in saying that you're 14?
Yes.
And one of your favourite artists is Steely Span.
Yes.
There are not many 14-year-olds that would say that Steely Span is where their interest lies. Why Steely Span?
Well, I think especially Dad's side of the family, like
I was going to say blame Dad.
Yeah, our grandparents were big on Steely Span, and it was kind of a big influence early on in life. Steely Span was played in like long car journeys and stuff like that. And I think, well, I play the violins, and they have a lot of violin in their, like fiddle in their tracks, which is really cool to me. And also their kind of focus on very dark, well, you know, like there's a lot of death and stuff like that.
We managed to get to see Steely Span because they're doing a tour. When was it? A couple of months back, and Danielle and I brought the average age down. I think Tess was far and away the youngest member of the audience.
The audience was all about, you know, your grandkids, and yeah, we felt quite young, but when we brought the kids along, it was great.
And that's Tess going, woo! Wonderful. Well, we play a bit of Steely Span. We'll whack some Steely Span on for you next. The parody is really interesting. So, I mean, you've just released a debut album earlier in the year, Hollow Chapters, which I believe isn't parody. Is that correct? That's a kind of, I don't want to say serious because it's a joyful album, but it's not a parody album. It's original music, it's original kind of folky sound. But the thing that's really took off online is the parody stuff, which is, I mean, lyrically ridiculously complex. One of my favourites was Brexit Epiphanies.
Now I say, what about Brexit epiphanies? A decade since the referendum's been grim, and as I recall, Putin and Co kind of liked it. Their rival held that economy shut.
Wonderful lyrics, really, really complex. Where did the parody element come into it? Who started writing parodies?
A lot of the credit for that goes to Dad, kind of lyrically. I mean, admittedly, there is some credit for kind of choosing the songs, which is a mum thing, which is why we've got a lot of 80s and 70s influence in the parodies that are chosen.
80s power ballads.
So, yeah, it's mum suggesting a song, and then Dad will go away and come up with the lyrics, which are always great. And then, yeah, we have a lot of fun recording them at home. Well, I mean, depending on the day. There are some days where it's more fun than others.
It's become more streamlined than it used to be.
Yeah.
We're better at saying no to what we don't want to do.
Dad will arrive with some lyrics and there'll be like, there's like a cringeometer where people go, I am definitely not saying that line. All right, Dad can sing that line. So, but I think in terms of where the parodies came from, it was born out of that COVID period of time, because initially you were singing about what was going on, and that couldn't help but end up being a bit critical of the people that were in charge. And then it gradually changed and developed over a long period of time. But I think we've got different sort of genres of parodies that we're known for, whether that's British politics or American, or particularly things about medical issues and dilemmas. So we've tried to cover some of those in the set, because some people come and see us because they know us for parodies. Some people come because they like the sort of folky harmonies or whatever, and we want to try and give a bit of that to everybody. So hopefully we've managed to create a set that covers all of those different elements of what people might expect to see from us. And doing parodies live, where I don't have a teleprompter, is words pinned up somewhere, is just, you know, at my age, it's complicated.
Menopausal brain issues.
And that's just Ben.
Yeah, exactly.
Clacton's a lot closer to Kent, so maybe we'll get a Clacton gig in the next couple of weeks. Maybe that could work. There could be some material. Exactly. There could be some material there. What should they expect from the live show? What experience are people going to have if they come and see you over the course of the festival?
Yeah, I think that the main thing is that we're just going to be playing a bit of a mix of everything. Like Mum said, there's, you know, some people will know us for our parodies, so we've got some nods to that. We're actually bringing back 6 years later the original One Day More parody, which obviously we
That's
were all...
kind of what launched you guys into stardom.
Well, we were all about 4 feet shorter and very different. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I mean, it will just be really good, upbeat stuff. Obviously mixes of folk, but with a bit of funk in there. So yeah, lots of tight harmonies, lots of enjoyable stage interactions. We're trying to get some choreography in now, which is new to the girls, but we are... Yeah, it's going to be lots of fun, I think.
It's a bit stiff at the moment, but we'll get there. We've got another 3 days.
There's so many of us, though, that we're always really quite confined, and the idea that you have to kind of step, turn or whatever and take out... I've taken out your microphone stand about 3 times in rehearsals.
Get chinned as he swings round.
Absolutely lose a tooth as I do something.
So how did you discover about the Durham Fringe Festival? Were you invited to come up? Was it something that was on your radar? Why did it feel like a good fit for kind of... You know, this is the furthest gig away from home you've done. Why did it feel like a good fit to do Durham?
It needed to be something really special and exciting, I think, for us to think all of the, bringing all that gear and the time. You know, these guys have got busy summers now and they're in different bits of education and whatnot and mixing around holidays. But one of the lovely things about doing live music is you're kind of when all the digital stuff at home, it's kind of you and the screen and then some feedback, either nice or, plenty of horrible trolls out there. But the live stuff is just so different. It's a totally different dynamic. People are warm, they're welcoming. It's something that's gradually dying, sadly, like many things across society. And so it's really important that everyone kind of comes together and encourages it. So there's a positive spirit. And at some of our live gigs, people had mentioned great festivals to do, folk festivals, some in Scotland. We thought about Edinburgh maybe in the future. But Durham just felt like a perfect fit because there's so much that's grassroots. There's so much that's family based. We had that connection anyway, and we got our sort of base up in the northeast. So yeah, we're really excited. We've never been before. We know it's been running for 5 or 6 years, but just looking at there's a performers group chat, and it's just so lovely to hear people chivvying everyone else along.
It's getting a little reputation, we think, for being a very friendly place to come and do a fringe show. So
really well organised compared to the other ones that we've done.
One of the lovely organisers who happened to see us at Broadstairs, contacted us and said, "Would you like to come?" And in terms of moving en masse. Being able to save grandparents nearby is a big bonus. We've taken over their garage to rehearse. So.
Free rehearsal room. That's great.
Absolutely.
And Ben, you're working in academia, but secretly, is there a frustrated rock star deep inside where this is satisfying that urge?
I think in every man in his late 40s or nearly 50, there's a midlife crisis around the corner. Mine's expressing itself in a very bizarre way. I haven't bought a motorbike. I haven't had an affair.
But you're selling tickets to it, so that's good. That's really good.
A lot of guitars.
You can come and see the family performing at the Durham Fringe Festival this week, Friday, 31st of July, Saturday, the 1st of August as well. It's at 1:20 p.m. on the Palace Green stretch tent. The weather's going to be lovely. Come on down. Where can we find you online? What's your social information? If people want to go and check you out, what do they need to type in?
If you type in marshfamilysongs.com, that gets you to our website and a link tree which takes you to all of our socials. But Marsh Family Songs will get you to us on any of our socials.
Amazing. Have a fantastic festival. Welcome to Durham. Thank you very much. So I'm still on the streets of Durham because it's the Durham Fringe Festival at the moment. As you know, because we've been banging on about it non-stop for about 8 days. I've come across a comedian, which is not rare this week on the streets of Durham. You can kind of bump into them every 2 minutes, but this one's a very special comedian because he's very, very good and he's very experienced. Richard Cobb is here with his show. Are you doing Edinburgh this year, Richard?
Not doing Edinburgh this year. I basically, the show in Durham's about becoming a new dad, so I felt bad doing Edinburgh. Although I live 30 minutes south of Edinburgh, so it financially would have made a lot more sense than coming down to Durham to do the show. So long answer, no, I'm not doing Edinburgh this year.
But we're glad that you're doing the Durham Fringe this year. You're doing Fabio's Bar, which is usually not a comedy club, but it's been turned into a comedy club for the Fringe Festival. You've been on the Fringe scene for a couple of years now. How long have you been doing comedy?
Comedy I've done for about 5 years, so this is my third hour. I keep calling it a Fringe hour even as we've established this. I mean, let's call it a Durham Fringe hour. So yeah, 5 years of comedy, and I did my first sort of debut hour in 2023, and I did 2024, and then 2 years off, and this is me back this year. So.
Amazing. And what have you learned sort of through your process of making comedy for Fringe festivals, doing different Fringe festivals? First of all, I imagine all the different cities have a very different vibe, but how does your third hour compare to your first hour? What kind of tips and tricks have you learned through that process?
I think speak slower is helpful. I think I probably didn't speak slower tonight for some reasons, but I think yeah, speaking slower because it sometimes leads to people looking confused. So I think slowing it right down and leaving quite a lot of leg room. I think the first time I'd written like an hour show, and then it was like exactly on an hour. So anything that happened in the room, I didn't have time to sort of talk about, whereas I think now it's kind of leaving enough leg room that you can sort of be present and every show can be different.
Yeah. This show's called Best Job in the World, I believe, and I believe you're not referring to the job of being a stand-up comic. What job are you referring to in the title there?
So on the topic of that, actually, it is called Best Job in the World. When I signed up for Durham, I hadn't realised that another bigger comedian called Michelle Wolf also had a show called Best Job in the World.
Oh, we're not bothered about Michelle. Michelle's not here.
But then I messaged Michelle, actually. I thought, I'm going to change the title, so I didn't promote it much. But then Michelle kindly said I can keep the title, which is lovely. She is doing the Fringe, but anyway. It's about being a dad, and it's basically, people had told me that being a dad was the best job in the world. So this is kind of what I try to look into for the hour.
How long have you been a dad for?
I've been a dad for just over a year now.
And how's it going? How is the best job in the world?
It's ups and downs, I guess. I think what I'm trying to do with this show is just be quite open and real about it, and just say that it's challenging at times, and I think you need to sort of adapt it in your own pace. I think some people say that it's great from day one, which is amazing, but I think some people maybe take slightly longer, and I think this is what this is about, of just sort of not being too hard on yourself, but realising your life has changed overnight, but sort of giving it time to sort of become the best job in the world.
There's a lot of people out there who maybe don't come to comedy shows. They don't come to comedy clubs. They might be convinced to go to a comedy show if they recognise the person on the poster, right? But we've been talking about the Durham Fringe non-stop for a couple of weeks now. There's obviously so many comedians in the city over the next few days. What would you say to somebody who's listening to this who is maybe thinking about coming down to the festival? How would you convince them to take a punt on not just your show, but other shows with other comics and other acts that they may not immediately recognise? What about doing the Fringe festivals makes it different to seeing bigger comedy shows, such as in an arena, for example? What's the difference, and why should people come along?
I think by this point, I think a lot of people are using this as the sort of pre-Edinburgh. So I guess it's with Edinburgh almost starting next week. It's not to belittle this at all. I think it is at the point where a lot of us have been doing work in progresses for quite a long time. So I think it's got that level of people want to make it a great show, but also there'll be local comedians as well from Durham and locally that are maybe, I guess, doing their first hour and really wanting to sort of get a good crowd for that. So I think there's such a different blend. I think my blend is sort of storytelling. I think people used to say it was a bit like chatting to a mate in a pub, so I think that's what I tried to do, sort of inoffensive storytelling, but then you'll maybe get another comedian who's doing like an hour of one-liners. So I think there's just a lot of variety, and I think sometimes the less you look into it beforehand, then the more you'll get out of it.
Come on down. Richard's show is on at Fabio's Bar, which is right in the middle of the city. It's on Sadler Street. The Sadler Street. It's the big one on the way up to the big old church. And it's on at 5 o'clock, I believe, later on today, Thursday. You can get all the details, including buy tickets, at durhamfringe.co.uk. Richard, thank you so much for coming to chat to us.
Thanks so much, Sam. Thanks.
Durham Fringe Festival is back. We are talking to lots and lots of people who are coming up to the Fringe. We are so lucky to have this in the city. It's bigger than ever this year as visitor numbers continue to grow and shows continue to grow. It was invented in order to make sure that people stopped off in Durham essentially on their way to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. We're en route. We should be making these shows stop in Durham and do the May 1st. And we are. And there's some fantastic shows and acts performing at this year's Durham Fringe. An exciting new play is being performed as well. It's called The Last Days of Trump. It imagines the near future where President Donald Trump is finally about to be replaced for good. Will he go rogue, or will he plan to keep himself focused on golf, guerrilla documentaries, and developing his perfect presidential library and avert disaster? We'll find out in the play. It's been performed at the Durham Fringe Festival, and in an exclusive interview. Now, this is big news, kids, because he doesn't speak to the BBC, and he certainly doesn't speak to CNN, but he will speak to Durham on air. Please welcome to the show President Donald J. Trump. Morning, President.
Morning, Sam. It's so good to be on there today. I tell you, one of the greatest radio shows I've ever heard. I tell you that, and that is no small praise, I tell you.
Thank you. So you've heard the programme before?
Oh, I certainly have. I've been listening all day today. It's been absolutely stupendous. That's a great music choice. I've been doing my little jig all morning. So good.
Now listen, these people are doing a play about you. It's called The Last Days of Trump. It's on at the Durham Fringe Festival. What's your view on people making pieces of theatre about your presidency and its possible end?
Well, this is the thing. They keep talking about how they want it to end, how it's going to end, but I think they don't realise I've got a few tricks up my sleeve. So we'll see how true it is in the long run.
And
the people who do the show, they're okay. You know, I think he does a decent performance. This Conor Cunningham guy is pretty good.
Yeah.
But I don't trust him. When you're in a play like this, with a title like this, you're up to no good, I say. Up to no good.
Nasty guy.
Very, very nasty. He is similar to Obama. I don't like him at all.
And have you been over to Durham in the northeast of England? Have you ever visited our little city?
Me, myself, no, I haven't, but I bet it's a beautiful place. You know, I've heard some of the accents. I've seen what some of the people have been saying, because like I said, I've been investigating this play.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I've got my ICE agents looking into it, and I have to tell you, it looks like a beautiful place. Such a shame you have people like this coming over there, I tell you. So sad.
Horrible. Well, listen, Donny, thank you so much for your time. I think you've got some cable TV to go and watch, so we won't get in the way of doing that, but I'm very pleased to say that you did mention Conor there, and we're keeping them separate. We're not keeping them in the same room because, you know, it's Conor Cunningham's a very nasty person, according to Donny.
Very nasty. I say, let me at him. It'll be like the Rocky films, but only the ones where he wins.
Thank you, Donny. Pleasure speaking to you, and I would like to bring in Conor Cunningham, the actor, who will be playing Donald J. Trump. Conor, I mean, amazing that you're on the same programme as the president himself. What an honour.
Oh, no, I'd say I'd be starstruck, but every time I hear that voice, I get reminded, oh, yes, he's still there.
So tell,
it's like the Truman Show where he's got a little globe around him. You
Yeah.
can just watch him and he thinks he's still in charge, but unfortunately, he is still in charge.
How long have you been involved with the play, and how long have you been sort of perfecting your Donald Trump?
Well, it's been about 2 years, I'd say, or just under 2 years. And it started where a friend of mine was just like, oh, there's a casting going for Donald. Do you want to give it a go? And I was like, I don't know, because I've done it silly before. Because I remember there was something I'd seen once with him, and it was literally like, I don't like those animal activists. They tell me we need to save the sharks. Well, why would I do that? Have they seen Jaws? They eat people. I don't like sharks. And I was like, oh my God. And then he did his little thing where he says he weaves. And he went, and they go on to me in Florida saying we need to save the alligators. Well, why would I do that? They're sharks with legs. I don't want to do that. And I just thought, oh my God. I was like, this guy.
This guy's ripe.
He is. He's fun. And I remember just telling people that, and they're like, you do okay with that. You do the hands and everything. I was like, well, yes. Unfortunately, it's feeding into my real life as well. So I worked in customer sales, and I'd be like, is a deal a great deal? And I'm doing the hands as I do it. And I'm like, oh no. It's to go.
Well, hey, I hope it got you some deals over the line. Tell us a little bit about the play. It's called The Last Days of Trump. So, you know, it's set towards the end of his term. It's described as a liberal fantasy for these times. What's happening in the play? When the play opens, where are we? What's happening?
Well, Trump is sort of, he's worse than he's ever been. He's there and he looks shattered when he's first on the play, when it begins.
Yes.
And everyone around him is plotting like what they're going to do next, what the plans are. But things don't go according to their plan, despite them thinking, we can predict Trump. They learn very quickly that even at this stage, you can never predict him. And he starts to rise to the occasion again, in some ways worse than he's ever been, feeling vindicated. And honestly, to tell you more is spoilers, because it literally just hits the ground running and keeps going and going and going.
And is it an all-out comedy? Is it a comedy drama? Where does it kind of sit?
Yeah, it's definitely a comedy, but what we found was happening, the plays had to change quite a lot, is because we'd make predictions and we'd be like, oh, this is funny, like as if this would ever happen.
And then he does it.
And then it's ended up happening. Like we mentioned the tariffs, we mentioned, certain wars, etc. And he was doing that. We're like, oh,
oh, now we have to adapt it because he's actually doing the things that we thought he would never do.
Yeah,
and
this isn't a satire anymore. Satire's dead. We need to.
So it's like, oh, do we dare go bigger? Because apparently we're oracles, and we keep predicting what's going to happen. So do we just make him nice in the end? But it's been a wild ride for sure.
And what have you discovered in terms of playing the man himself? I mean, people listening to my programme know I'm quite political. I'm known for I'm known for a rant or two a couple of times a week. I hate the guy. I mean, how do you find audiences react to you playing him? Are they kind of leaning into a sort of comedy cuddly version of him, or do you feel people as the play goes on genuinely wanting to throttle you?
Well, usually people come to the play and they sort of get a grasp before they come and go, it's probably going to be slightly left-leaning, this.
Yeah.
But when we were in the street, for example, and I was playing him at other Fringe festivals, you have people who think I love him and then realise I don't. And I've been threatened there, and they're like, you this, you that. I thought, he's going to save the free world, which we did it in Scotland, which was a very weird thing to hear.
Yeah.
Someone saying a Scottish accent about Trump. Very strange.
Well, but I think he's got quite a few fans up there, because obviously he's got his golf courses up in Scotland, but there's definitely a fraction of people up there who kind of quite like the guy.
Yeah, I think he's one of those over there where he's like Marmite, where it's like, oh, he's got a golf course here, he's great, and then he's got a golf course here. Get him out, get him gone.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh. And then you've got people who hate him, who thought I was being pro, and they weren't happy either. And then I had one gentleman who realised that, I'm so sorry, I thought you'd be. But you've just got to keep it going, because I'm like, the best we can do on this side of the pond, if you're not directly involved in politics, is take the mickey out of him as best you can. But it does mean having a nugget of truth in it, which is, honestly, you play him and I'm like, I've said to friends and stuff before, I'm like, I don't know how much longer I can do this, because I can't stand the man. I have to keep looking at him on the news to see what he's doing. And
I was going to say, you're going to have to be spending a lot of time watching him.
Yeah. I personally go cold turkey whenever I do, like after I do a show. I'm like, that's it. I can't, phones off, news off, can't watch anything.
Yeah.
So I become like a hermit for a while afterwards.
What's your favourite kind of style of Donald? Because he's got a few different sort of personas.
What do you mean? Like
I kind of like, my favourite's his sort of sympathetic Donny, when he's sort of getting, he sort of gets really sympathetic towards people, like he's the only person that cares, you know. It's so sad what they're doing to the beaches, you know. Extra empathetic.
That was probably my favourite, but my favourite now is whenever he's in the same room, Zoran Mamdani. It's like he can't help but he's like, I shouldn't like him, I shouldn't. Man, such a beautiful man. You know, he talks about such, he's got the charisma, I don't want to like him. And you see these pictures when they're in the Oval Office together, and you know, like, everyone else in the room is like, we hate this man, we hate him. But Donald's looking at him like, but he's a winner, I can't stop looking at him, look at him. I'm like, oh, that's what he's about, he's all about winning, really. He's very ego-driven, so he always tickles me whenever I see him with Zoran. He looks at him with such puppy eyes, he's like, I don't want to like him, because, you know, he's a lefty, but he's a winner.
Right. Well, listen, Connor, thank you so much for coming on the show and telling us about the play, and also thank you for arranging for Donald to come on as well. I mean, what an exclusive. The last days of Donald Trump, it's called The Last Days of Trump, actually, are on at the Durham Fringe Festival, 1st of August and the 2nd of August, 7:50pm. So you can go after you've had a bit of scran. It's on at the Department of Music. All the details and the ticket link and all of that is at durhamfringe.co.uk. Connor, have you ever been to Durham before?
I have been to Durham before, I have, and it's a lovely place, I do just want to mention that I want people to know that media is called Trump Last Days for Facebook and Insta and so much more, but no Truth Social. Can you believe it? No Truth Social, the one social media platform they need, and they don't put it on there. It's crazy. It's crazy.
They're crazy people. Donald, Connor, thank you so much for coming on the programme. Best of luck with the show. Can't wait to see you there. The Last Days of Trump on the 1st and 2nd of August. Have a great run at the festival.
Thanks, Sam. You too. Have a great day.
So the Durham Fringe Festival is in full swing out here. I'm currently on High Street in the middle of the city. And I'm joined by Richard Pulston. Now, Richard Pulston is a stand-up comic, author, podcast host, and he's brought not one but two fantastic shows to the Durham Fringe Festival. Richard, thank you so much for coming to chat to me. You've come all the way from Fife. Is this your first time at the Durham Fringe?
I have been here a couple of times before. I was here last year. I was doing a straight stand-up show here last year, which was great. I was at Fabio's bar.
And what makes you come back?
Well, I've written a new show called Yorkshire Dad Immigrant Mum, which is more retrospective, like a nostalgic show about growing up in Yorkshire with my parents. And I'm keen to get that out there to different festivals. And the other show I have is I've been doing this about 7 years now, so it's a history-themed show which goes out as a podcast called It Just So Happened. And the nice thing about that is every show's unique, so I get 3 guest panellists in, and the comedians, myself, talk about things that happened on the date of the show in history, so 29th of July, and then we talk about the history of the place where we happen to be doing the show, so in this case history of Durham. And I've not taken the show to Durham before, so I'm quite excited about that.
So that's a brand new research project then.
Fresh material. I can speak about anything, nothing's been covered before.
So that's quite a lot of work to prep for every single performance.
It is.
Why on earth did you take that up?
Because I'm a sucker for punishment.
Yeah.
What I say in my one-liner shows, that I talk about history a bit, and I say I didn't enjoy history at school, but I genuinely enjoy the research for history now, because I find out stuff that I didn't know before, and then I enjoy making that into a kind of Q&A in the show, sort of challenge the panellists, and we find out stuff together. So it's a kind of both entertaining and informative show, and I'm learning stuff as I go.
If you're going to sit on Wikipedia, you might as well get a show out of it, I guess.
More than just Wikipedia. Other sources are available.
Very good. Yeah. So you got 2 shows here today. Tell us a little bit about sort of your history in performing. When did you sort of become a performer? When did you discover that stand-up was a route that you wanted to go down? And then also breaking away from stand-up and adding an extra element, whether that's history, whether that's talking about your heritage. When did it start moving away from, well, you still do the pun show, you're still the pun king, I believe. But when did you kind of decide I want to add something else into those performances? And how did you get into it in general? It's a huge question.
That's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So I started over 20 years ago. As I say at the start of my Yorkshire Dad show, I always do one-liners and puns, and I was kind of not made to go down that route, but it was when I was doing the UK Pun Championships at the Leicester Comedy Festival, they encouraged me to do that, and so I saw that as my shtick. But then I think as a product of getting older, you sort of get a bit more reflective, and I found out more about my parents and their past, and I thought actually that would make quite an interesting show in itself. So it's not stand-up comedy, but it's sort of more reflective, but also because my dad was quite eccentric from Yorkshire, so there's quite a lot of humour comes out of that, I think. So I thought, make that into a show, why not do something different? And then in terms of the history show, I can't quite remember how that started off, because it was back in 2019. But it's really nice to do something different where you feel like you're working as a team with the panel of comedians, and like I say, every show is different, so it still has that element of you don't know what people are going to prepare beforehand for the show, and then the interactions are always funny as well. So I like that element, that it's not just a scripted show for the history one, it's something which involves a team and we're sort of bouncing off each other.
Yorkshire Dad Immigrant Mum, which is one of your shows here, you've been doing that around the country. You've done it in Glasgow, you've done it in Leicester, I believe you've done it in Buxton not too long ago as well, and it's going to be in Edinburgh for the festival this year. What have the responses been to that show around the country? Have you been happy with those responses, and has it changed much since you first did it?
Yeah, the challenge for me was getting off script, because for some reason my brain is such that I can learn an hour's show of jokes, but having a script for what's more like spoken word that was the challenge for me. But I found that by getting off script, and then I feel like I'm somehow interacting more with the audience, although they're just listening to what I'm saying, that I'm getting more responses now to the humorous side of it. But there is also some sad parts of the show, and I have seen people who said that they were in tears at the end of the show as a result, for all the right reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. It's effective. It's an effective piece.
Yeah, so it's kind of. I think performing is a privilege. I think to make people laugh is a privilege, because it's something we all need in our lives, especially life is stressful, awful things happen. So laughing is good. But I think with the Yorkshire show, it's also a privilege because. It's kind of opening up about myself, making myself quite vulnerable on stage about my life and growing up with my parents, and I think people can relate to a lot of that, and that's what I find is the privilege that I'm seeing them respond to what I'm doing, and they say afterwards. Someone at Buxton said, I think it was the next day, I bumped into them and they said, of all the shows I've seen, yours stood out. It stayed with me, and I really thought about your mum's life story and what a life she led. So that's the privilege I feel. Is that
what was your mother's heritage?
I find it really hard to say anything up front because I don't want to spoil it too much.
Buy a ticket and find out.
I'm not trying to tease any audience about it, but it's I would say take a punt on it and see. But hopefully there are things there which both interest people and hopefully they can relate to as well. Yeah.
And you're performing at the Academy venue, which is on High Street in the middle of Durham. It's today only in Durham. What time are the shows today? We're just checking the programme.
Because I'm a busy man.
6:10.
6:10 for Yorkshire Dad Immigrant Mum. And I think if you hurry, you might still be able to get a ticket for it. Just so happened at St Leonard's, 7:40 p.m. That's St Leonard's Coffee House.
Yeah, that's down in Fowler's Yard there. And then you're off to Edinburgh as well. What's your venue and your times in Edinburgh for the people who might be heading up there and might want to catch you up at the Edinburgh Festival?
Cool. No, you really are putting me on the spot. So I'm doing a one-liner show, just light-hearted one-liners and puns at 12:15 at the Beehive Inn in the Grassmarket. And then opposite there at the Apex Hotel, a venue called Hoots. That's where I'm doing Yorkshire Dad Immigrant Mum at 14:20. So that's every day from the 7th to the 31st, except for the 19th. And then I'll have 2 editions of It Just So Happens back at the Beehive Inn, and I think they're on the 17th and the 18th only of August.
Amazing. And where can people catch up with you? Are you online? Are you on the socials or anything? Where can people find you if they want to know more info?
So my name's Richard Pulsford. So if you go to my website, richardpulsford.com, or if you go to itjustsohappened.co.uk for previous podcast episodes of The History Show. Basically do a Google search for Richard Pulsford. I'm sure lots of nice things come up, possibly.
You'll find out.
I haven't done it myself recently.
Give it a Google, see what comes up.
Yeah.
Richard, thanks so much. Have a fantastic festival and have a fantastic August in Edinburgh as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Durham Fringe Festival is back for another year. We're chatting to all kinds of amazingly talented people who have descended on Durham City to bring us their work all week. Flat 504 is a comedy drama that you can go and see this week. It follows a group of first-year university students as they navigate the highs and lows of living together for the first time. It explores friendship, identity, mental health, and the chaos of university life. I can just about remember that. It's a long time ago for me now. It's been produced by TIN Theatre. TIN Theatre are Tilla, Nathan and Isabella, and they're joining me on Zoom this morning to have a chat. Morning, folks.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming on and having a chat. So, why did the Durham Fringe Festival feel like a good fit this year?
Well, I'm Nathan, and I'm initially from the northeast. So when us guys got together and we started looking at what shows we were interested in, I knew that one of my main goals was definitely to bring the show that we've written and produced to the northeast.
Oh, did you all go to university together?
Yes, we are currently about to enter our second year at LMA in Liverpool.
Oh, fantastic. And how's Liverpool treating you? Do you miss us up here, Nathan?
Yeah, I do. One thing I'll give it though, the culture here, they're just as friendly as everyone up north, and the nightlife is pretty much on par as well, so can't complain.
Yeah, I went to university in Manchester, so not too far away. It's a lovely old place. So tell us a little bit about where the idea for the play came from.
It was us three. We were talking about doing something when we all met at uni on the first day. Through the first weeks, we all became really close friends, and then we shared our passion for theatre, and we were like, why don't we create something together? So we got together one night, stayed up all night, did a 24-hour day, and basically brainstormed a lot of ideas. And we were like, well, what can we talk about? What do we know? And it's first year uni. It's uni life. It's about flatmates, because we would always hang about in Nathan's flat. That's where the name Flat 504 originated from, because his flat is actually 504. So we just thought, this is what we know, this is what we can tell the truth about, and it went from there.
And obviously you're a young company, because you're young people, I'm not shy to say, but what's the theatre experience been like up until this point from the three of you?
It's
been incredible yet overwhelming at the same time. Being so young makes it really difficult to kind of break through because everybody you're constantly in competition with is so much older and so much more experienced. However, I feel like those people and like other theatre companies have taken us in with open arms and been like, this is incredible. What you're doing at your age is like, it's unheard of. So we feel very supported and like backed by our community like massively.
And have you performed the piece yet, or is this a world premiere? Have you done it in Liverpool? Have you tried it in front of pals?
Yes, a bit of both. So back in March, we did a showcase here in Liverpool, got some really positive reviews, and last month we took part in Brighton Fringe. So us and the cast travelled down to Brighton, and we were there for 3 days, and it was lovely. We performed at the Brunswick pub, and yeah, the reviews once again were really, really good. And now moving on to Durham.
Mm-hmm. And what was the response like from the audience? I mean, I've done new writing. I've performed new writing, and it is terrifying on that first night. It was only a few weeks ago. I was working on a new comedy, and on our first night, I couldn't believe this. We were doing it in front of 1,000 people on the first preview on night one. We didn't know if any of this stuff was funny. We thought it was funny, and then finally, as we went out, people actually laughed. So I'm familiar with that feeling. But how was it for you guys going out on that very first performance? Not just having put a show together from like a script you've maybe hired in or got the rights to perform, but a script and a piece that you've actually put together from scratch and hearing people respond to it. How was that?
We were so scared. So that's like the only thing I can say. We were so scared.
Did you have a big drink after?
Yeah. There was drinks being served throughout the showcase. Because we were like, we need to get people in a good mood. Please laugh at the jokes we make.
Yeah.
All the comedic beats. No, yeah, the first showcase, it was supported by a lot of our family friends and just all of our uni friends. It was very supportive, but we were, of course, like really scared. How are the jokes that we wrote at 3 a.m. going to really be shown? It was just scary, but it was so good. People laughed. People had such like varied reactions because there's like a lot of plot twists and there's relationship troubles in it. So there's just like all type of different reactions from everyone. Like you could watch anyone's faces and it will be different.
Has it changed much since the original idea? Sort of has performing it in front of people made you say, actually, we need to go in a different direction there, or we need to a bit more of that and a bit less of that? What kind of changes has it been through?
Yeah, so we started out with like a smaller cast, and we expanded the characters, added more characters in because we thought, right, there are more topics and huge, like important things that we have to cover. So we added more characters accordingly, and this play has gone through so many changes. Like the basis has never changed, but the individual scenes and each character's like plot lines and storylines have been tweaked throughout the process because the more of the year that we've gone through, because we started doing this back in October, which when we were like really, really fresh at uni, the more time that has passed, the more things we have experienced, either us or like in our like wider friend group. So the more we like found out about, then we started to add more into it, and it just became more and more detailed about the experience and more like accurate.
And why is the company called TIN Theatre? Where's that name come from?
Silly, but it's because it's Tiller, Izzy and Nathan. It's TIN.
I did see. I didn't want to say it, but I thought maybe that's the reason. This is really exciting, guys. I mean, I remember my first year at uni, and I think I set out on my first year, and I'm going to write a play, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to win an Oscar, and I think I spent most of it in the pub. So well done to you guys for actually getting it on. Nathan, whereabouts in the northeast are you from?
I'm from Gateshead.
All right. So have you been to Durham before then? Have you spent a bit of time in Durham?
Yeah, I did Durham Fringe 3 or 4 years ago as part of a musical theatre company.
Mm-hmm.
It was so much fun. I love Durham. Got a lot of family in Durham as well.
Good.
So I was a really big advocate for it. When it came to applying for different schemes with these lot, I was like, we do need to do Durham.
And Tiller and Isabella, is this your first time here in Durham? Tiller, you're originally your family's from Croatia, did you say? So is this your first time in Durham, or have you been before?
I've never been before in Durham, and it's going to be my first time, and I'm really excited.
What about you, Izzy?
Yeah, it's gonna be my first time up there because I'm from South Yorkshire, so it's a bit further up than me, but not too far from home.
Yeah, very good. Are you up in the city right now? We're currently chatting on Wednesday morning, right at the start of the festival. Are you here now, or are you coming up a bit later in the week?
No, we are in Liverpool. We arrive in Durham tomorrow.
Ah,
but today
fantastic.
we have a full day of rehearsal.
Wonderful. Well, the play is called Flat 504. It's been performed at the Fellows Garden at Durham Castle. We all know where that is. You don't need me to tell you. Tickets are available at durhamfringe.co.uk, £7, and the performances are at 5:10 this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 2 shows at Durham Castle. Like I said, details at durhamfringe.co.uk. Go and support new writing. Go and support a new exciting theatre company from Liverpool who have been generous enough to bring their stuff to Durham. Folks, thank you so much for coming on the programme. Best of luck with the Fringe. If you see us wandering around with a lanyard and a microphone, do come and say hi, and we'll make sure we come and see the show at the weekend as well. Have a great festival.
Thank you so much.
Join me, Stuart Laundy, here on Durham On Air for the Monday Morning Music Show. Just great music from the past 5 decades and beyond. We'll celebrate our heritage stars with a couple of classic tracks from their back catalogue, and we'll relive those halcyon Top of the Pops days with a top 5 of yesteryear. And then, after the clocks strike noon, well, then it's quiz time. I'll test your knowledge with 6 of the best brain teasers for a Monday lunchtime. Mondays with me, Stuart Laundy, here on Durham On Air.